Hi, and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mama Dreads. Thank you for joining me and for cooking along with me. Be sure to check in the description box below for the full recipe. There'll be a link there to the blog so you can follow along with both the video and the recipe. So gather your ingredients and join me in the kitchen. And here we go. We are ready to make the dough. Super simple, super easy, no knead dough. So here we have the flour, which is 2 cups of flour plus 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. To that we're going to add 1/8 of teaspoon of yeast. Very small amount of yeast, but that is why we're resting the dough for 24 hours. 2 teaspoons of sugar. And 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And to that we are going to add our 3/4 cup of water plus 1 tablespoon right to the mix. Warm water, room temperature water, both will work. Very simple. We don't want to mix it too much. It is a no-knead dough. We want a cohesive dough, of course. So I will mix it and show you how far we want to take it. Basically, we're just going to keep mixing it around. I like to switch to my hands at a certain point. And we just want the dough to come together. A cohesive dough, but not kneaded, not overworked in any way. Only takes a minute or two. Scoop up some of that flour. There we go. And that's about it. It looks kind of dry. There we go. I'm going to turn it out on the counter and give it just 1 or 2 little quick kneads. And that is it. That is about how we want to look. Not like a traditional bread dough that gets really kneaded and it's smooth and a shiny ball. It is rough. So we're going to put that back in the bowl. Cover it with a piece of plastic wrap. Loosely. Cover with a kitchen towel. And again. Cover it one more time with a piece of plastic wrap. I like to mark my 24-hour time period right on the dough. Remember I said this can rise for 12 to 24 hours. I like to rise it for the full 24 hours. Also, you won't notice a lot of rising on your dough. It will not rise like a traditional bread dough. It will stay nice and low. It will rise a little bit. It will be bubbly, and you will see that all in the next segment after we let it rise for 24 hours. Okay, the dough is rested for about 24 hours. You can rest it 12 to 24 hours, but not too much beyond that because then the yeast overproofs. So, let's show you what it looks like. You can see the dough is real nice and airy, spongy, smells very yeasty. All the gluten strands. Looks wonderful. It's going to be a very soft dough, so make sure to use as much flour on your hands and on your bench as you need to. I am making 9 mini pizzas today. The same amount of dough makes 2 10 or 12 inch pizzas depending on how large you stretch it. So we'll just dust the counter with a little flour and remove the dough right onto that. There we go. And we will divide this into 9 pieces. First I start in 3, and then I divide each piece into 3. It's not exact, we could weigh them for an exact measurements, but some will be bigger than others. It looks like this. This one right here could use a little. Right here, right here. So we're basically going to take each piece and you're going to stretch one way, fold back over onto itself, stretch the other way, fold over back onto itself. It's so easy. You're going to tuck the ends in, tuck them under, and you're going to round your ball. That's it, just like that. And we're going to set that on a floured surface. And in the meantime, cover it with a piece of plastic wrap protect the dough. And we're going to do the same for all pieces. I'll show you a couple more times. Stretch it one way, fold it over, stretch it another way, fold it over, turn it over, tuck the ends in underneath, making a nice tight ball, and round. There we go, beautiful. And back under the plastic it goes. One more for you. Pulling and stretching. Doesn't matter if it breaks. Pull, stretch, fold, tuck the ends under. There we go. And round. No real science to that. Just make yourself a nice ball, and there we go. I'll finish the rest of these and I'll get back to you momentarily a little bit. And we are going to rest them for 45 minutes. And this is a good time while these are resting is to preheat your oven with your pizza stone to 550 degrees. Remember, it takes about a half an hour to 40 minutes to really heat your oven to that temperature and heat up the stone. So I like to do this now while these are proofing, and in the meantime I'll be back with you shortly to prep the toppings. So we covered it with plastic, and then we're going to cover it one more time with a kitchen towel and put this to rise. Okay, while we got our oven preheating, we're going ahead and prep the toppings for our mini pizzas. And this is where you can get creative. I mean, you can do all sorts of things. I like this simple preparation that I'm doing here. Just green peppers and onions, and some of them with fresh ripe tomatoes. These are some heirlooms from my garden. I'll show you how we're going to top those, but you could do whatever you want. You could use pizza sauce and cheese. You could use sun-dried tomatoes and goat cheese, whatever you want. You can get creative as you'd like. But I'm just going to do it this way here. I'm going to need only enough for about 9 total. There we go. Little green peppers there. And I like big slices of onions for each tomato. I need about 4 slices for 4. There's going to be 9 total, so we'll do 4 tomato, 4 onion. Set those aside. And not too thin on the tomatoes. Not thin to hold their shape. Oh, not thin like that one. Like that's better. Beautiful tomatoes. And I like to give them a little spread. Take some extra virgin olive oil and drizzle the onions and the pepper. Oops, with just a little. Tossing it. Try to keep the onions intact. To drizzle with a little kosher salt. And some fresh ground black pepper. Oops. That's for 1. And then same thing here. Add a little pepper and a little salt. So that is what I have ready. Okay, here we are. The dough is rested for 45 minutes. They're nice and soft. We're going to do 1 piece at a time. Use as much flour on your surface as you need to. There we go. We're going to minimally handle the roll, and we never want to touch the outside here. So we're just going to use the center to enlarge the roll a little bit. Make it a little wider. There we go. Leaving the outer rim untouched. Gives it a nice bubbly crust. Here we go. Something like this. Doesn't have to be exact. I like to do it enough to hold my slice of tomato and push it down. And then in the meantime, while we're working on the others, we'll transfer it back into the rack. Back into the pan, the sheet pan, and cover it again. So I'll show you one more time. You can use enough flour on your hands. Center only, leaving the outer rim open. Just almost like you would do a pizza, but instead of, we're just pulling it, instead of putting your hand under and stretching it. We're just going to give it a stretch. There we go. And here we're going to add some of our onion that we prepped earlier. Some of our green pepper slices. Look at that. Looks so yummy. There we go, and that is it. And one thing I forgot to mention here is that we don't actually want to set it back on the tray. We want to cut out some little parchment squares. You could use foil. Keep the parchment small because it can burn depending on the, how, oven is pretty high, so we want to keep it pretty small. And we'll keep them each on individuals. This way it would be easy to move them without just, disturbing the rise. So here we go. Got them all done. We are going to just hit it with a little bit of kosher salt on each one. And accentuate the flavor, bring out the flavor. Just like that. They've already have olive oil on them, and you can also hit them with another fresh ground black pepper if you choose. This is optional. Again, this is where you have the choice to get creative and do your own thing. All right. So they can be put right into the oven at this point, but I'm going to let them sit for about 10 minutes to rest after handling them. I find that they come out better like this. Okay, the oven is ready, set on 550, and we are going to bake 4 or 5 of them at a time. Oven is super hot. So here we go. I'm going to pick up each parchment piece and put them in. And they'll bake for about 7 minutes. We'll take a look at them in a few. Alrighty, and here we are. Oh, those look great. And here we are, out of the oven, looking amazing and delicious. Thank you so much for cooking with me, and I hope you follow along and make these yourself. Enjoy!